So WNBA players are still mad about Caitlin Clark now, not because she's just like the biggest draw in the entire league. Heck, I'll talk a little bit about it in another video with the whole NBA anonymous player poll. I'm pretty sure the second most popular non-NBA athlete among NBA players is Caitlin Clark. Also, shout out to Angel Reese and Juju Watkins for getting 2 votes each, surprisingly more than any WNBA players. Actually, pretty much unsurprisingly, although Ionescu, Kelsey Plum, and A'ja Wilson did get votes. Either way, let's get on to what we're talking about, and it is the Caitlin Clark shoe deal. So Caitlin Clark did get a shoe deal from Nike. I think it's like 8 years, 24 million, so like 3.5 million a year. Which isn't a lot of money if you take into consideration she has a signature shoe. I don't know what way the contract structured. She might make a little bit from the shoe, but people are really pissed because she has a shoe and A'ja Wilson doesn't. I'm not gonna lie, there is a reason for it, and it is purely based on popularity. A'ja Wilson is the face of the Cosmic Unity shoe, and no one bought it. Nobody bought the Cosmic Unity 3. And they try to make it look like the damn Sean Wotherspoon's 97s. Like, I like that shoe, man. But nobody bought it. And a big thing is people also talking about Sabrina's shoe. I'm just putting it out there right now. If Sabrina Ionescu didn't have a shoe last year, and Caitlin Clark was coming out of college this year, Sabrina Ionescu would not have a signature shoe. I'm just saying that out there. Like, I'm just putting it out there. Like, and I know it's true. I know that's true. Ionescu would not have a shoe if Caitlin Clark got there first. It would literally be for Nike, with Caitlin Clark being the only WNBA athlete. But, like, I'm pretty sure Candace Parker has had a shoe in the past. And obviously, Breanna Stewart does have a shoe as well. Breanna Stewart's shoes are awful. But at the same time, like, if A'ja Wilson does want to tear up the Nike contract and go to a different brand, 100% will get a signature shoe. As well as that, you never know. Her name appeared beside Wemby in the whole concept, so a signature shoe should be coming. But again, it's just uproar for nothing. It's uproar for absolutely nothing. Sabrina Ionescu has proven that WNBA players' shoes can sell. They can sell. Even though Sabrina, I don't even think Sabrina Ionescu is that big of a draw, if we're being honest. I think the shoes just look the closest thing to Kobe's, so we were happy. Ionescu's not a draw. Breanna Stewart for Puma is not a draw whatsoever. She's just a good player and they gave her a shoe. Like, it's like, I don't think, as great as A'ja Wilson is, and again, A'ja Wilson is better than Caitlin Clark. I don't think A'ja Wilson is that much of a draw to sell shoes. But, and again, this is the case of WNBA players and their people that pretend to be fans shooting themselves in the foot. If Caitlin Clark's shoe sells extremely well, it has proven one thing, that female basketball players can sell sneakers. Because they haven't up to this point. Like, Sabrina's sold, but you could put any WNBA player. If you would call them the Kelsey Plums, if you had called them obviously the A'ja Wilsons, if you'd called them the Brittany Griners, to be fair, there's enough people. There's no point even mentioning that situation, or for that situation, it's probably not the greatest look to give her a signature shoe. Well, at the time wouldn't have been. But either way, like, there are players. There are a lot of players that they could have put in the shoe. There's a lot of WNBA All-Stars they could have given the signature sneaker to, and it would have sold if it looked the closest thing to Kobe's, like the Sabrinas. Sure, the rumors were that they were like meant to be the Kyrie Lows, like, and I wouldn't be that surprised if that's the truth. But at the same time, Caitlin Clark is the first female athlete that it looks like people are going to go out of their way to buy the shoe, not for how the shoe looks, for the player. And there are a lot of players that will sell shoes. Kyrie Irving is a player that people will buy a shoe for Kyrie Irving. Even though Kyrie's have looked good, some of the Kyries look awful and people would still buy that shoe. Paul George is a player that people would buy the shoe for Paul George. For example, Giannis is not really a player that people buy the shoe for him. There's a reason why the Freaks don't sell that well, because Giannis isn't that big of a shoe seller. There's like the reason why Embiid is with Skechers and Jokic, that Nike let him walk. People aren't going to buy shoes for those specific people, whereas they will for like a Luka or a Tatum or an Ant for Adidas, and they will for a Caitlin Clark. And do I think that Caitlin Clark's signature shoe is going to suddenly start to see the current NBA players, the current WNBA players, the current people that they put in the GOAT conversation, seeing them get sneakers? Probably not. Probably not, if I'm being completely honest. I don't think it's going to happen. Do I think we even see, for example, like Paige Beckers coming in and getting a signature sneaker? Probably not. Probably not, because if you just watch the way they play, a lot of it is the entertainment factor. And this is like, if you look at all the things back in the day with like T-Mac, even when he was interviewing Breanna Stewart, where he's talking about how the WNBA skill level's there, but the entertainment isn't there. Maybe they should like lower the rims for dunking. And a lot of people were like, oh, they just don't want to make the game more entertaining. Caitlin Clark is the first WNBA player, or first female basketball player, that has made the game mainstream entertaining. And the skill level's never been questioned. Like, if you do question it, you just watch lowlights, as I've said previously in other videos. But like, A'ja Wilson again is better than Caitlin Clark, but she's not the draw that Caitlin Clark is. There is a player coming up in a couple of years who is that draw. If you've watched any of USC women's basketball, Juju Watkins is that player. So I think that Caitlin Clark, a couple of years, being able to sell shoes. I'm pretty sure, like, will Angel Reese? I think she might be. I think whatever brand Angel Reese is signed for, she might get a shoe. But like, if Caitlin Clark's able to sell shoes, who's the more likely person to do it, just because of how entertaining the game is. I don't think we hear much of Angel Reese in the future in the WNBA, just being honest there. But at the same time, Juju is as hyped as Caitlin Clark is right now. In 3 years' time, Juju Watkins will be more hyped than Caitlin Clark is right now. I'm being 100% serious on that. Like, this is going to be... Caitlin Clark is going to be the person that gets people's eyes on the WNBA. The talent level and the ability level of the players, I think, is what's going to get people to keep watching, especially because now it's on during a time where there's no other basketball, especially like later on the regular season, the playoffs. So people are going to keep watching, I think, because the players are genuinely... If you like basketball, you're going to like women's basketball. It's simple as that. The level's good enough. But Juju's going to be... I don't think it's Caitlin. I think Caitlin Clark's going to be the person that starts the revolution. I think Juju Watkins is the person that's going to make that sport mainstream. So everybody, if you're a WNBA player, even if you're a WNBA player that is annoyed that you don't have a signature shoe, should be pushing for Caitlin Clark's shoe to sell as much as possible. Because if Caitlin Clark, for example, her shoe ends up selling really well, Caitlin Clark is a really good WNBA player, but you're better? Brands are going to start to notice. People are going to start to notice. We've seen how much the star power of everyone was risen by the run that Iowa made. You've seen by, like, even neutral fans probably didn't know who Cardozo was, who wouldn't have watched that much college basketball, but suddenly we're like, oh, she's good. She's going this high in the draft. Oh, she was brilliant. And then I just remember looking at like WNBA mock drafts, so many people being like, oh, Cameron Brink shouldn't be in the top 5, purely because they didn't watch any college women's basketball. They're like, it should be Cardoso 2, Reese 3. And I was like, oh, Paige should be in. It's like, no, you literally just watched the run that Caitlin Clark went on, and you watched Juju versus Paige right after Caitlin Clark's game against LSU. And just base all the decisions on that. And there's a lot of people that would base decisions on that. And it's one of the situations where the WNBA players can't help shoot themselves in the foot. This is a good thing. And the more that the league is promoted based on one person is going to be a good thing for that, because it helps everybody. Again, those South Carolina players, like Cardoso is more known than Aliyah Boston. Aliyah Boston was the best player on last year's South Carolina team, who were as good, if not better, than this year's South Carolina team, was the number 1 pick, one of the best rookies in WNBA history. More people know Cardoso than Boston purely from that one game. So it is what it is with that. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Is there controversy? Yeah, there's going to be literally controversy with everything that happens around Caitlin Clark for the next year, because if there's going to be a savior to WNBA, it's probably going to be her. And then it might need to be saved right now, but it's going to go to new heights with Juju in 3 years. I'm calling that right now.